I used to go there quite a bit. Oh, years ago now, but I stopped. I used to like that place, spent quite a bit of time in there. That was before I went away, just before. I think that place had a lot to do with it. I mean, they were all a good bit older than me, but they always used to listen. I thought they understood what I said. I mean, I used to talk to them. I talked too much. That was my mistake. The same in the factory, standing there in the breaks, I used to talk about things, and these men, they always used to listen. Whenever I had anything to say, it was all right. The trouble was, I used to have these kind of hallucinations. No, they weren't hallucinations, really. I used to get the feeling I could see things very clearly. Everything was so clear. Everything used to get very quiet. Everything got very quiet. And all this quiet and this clear sight, it was... But maybe I was wrong. Anyway, someone must have said something I didn't know anything about it, and some kind of lie must have got around. And this lie went round. I thought people started being funny in that cafe, the factory. I couldn't understand it. Then one day, they took me to a hospital right outside London. They got me there. I didn't want to go. I tried to get out quite a few times, but it wasn't very easy. They asked me questions in there. Got me in and asked me all sorts of questions. Well, I told them whenever they wanted to know what my thoughts were. Then one day there was this man. Doctor, I suppose, the head one. He was quite a man of distinction, although I wasn't so sure about that. Anyway, he called me in one day, said, "We've concluded our examination," that's what he said. He said, "You've got this thing, that's your complaint." And he said that in your interest there's only one course we can take. I can't exactly remember how he put it. He said, "We're going to do something to your brain. And if we don't, you'll be in here for the rest of your life. But if we do, you stand a chance," he said. "You can go out, live like the others." "What are you going to do to my brain?" I said to him. But he just repeated what he'd said before. Well, I wasn't a fool. I knew I was a minor. I knew he couldn't do anything to me without getting permission. I knew he needed permission from my mother, so I wrote to her and I told her what they were trying to do to me, but she signed their form, you see. Giving them permission. I know that because he showed me her signature when I brought it up. I tried to escape that night. I spent 5 hours sawing at one of the bars on the window in this ward right throughout the dark. They used to shine a torch over the beds every half hour, so I timed it just right. And it was nearly done, and then this man, he just had a fit right next to me. And they caught me, anyway. About a week later, they started to come round and do this thing to the brain. We were all supposed to have it done in this ward, one at a time, one a night. I was one of the last, and I could see quite clearly what they were doing to the others. They used to come round with these, I don't know what they were, they looked like big pincers with wires on. The wires were attached to a little machine, you see, and there was this chief, the chief doctor, he would fit the pincers something like earphones. And there was a man holding the machine, you see, and he'd turn it on, and then this chief would just press these pincers on either side of the man's skull and just keep them there. Then he'd take them off. They'd cover the man up, and they wouldn't touch him again until later on. Some used to put up a fight, but most of them didn't. They just lay there. Well, that night they were coming round to me. And the night they came, I got up and I stood against the wall. They told me to get on the bed, and I knew they had to get me on the bed because if they did it while I was standing up, they might break my spine. So I stood up. And then one or two of them came for me. Well, I was younger then. I was much stronger than I am now. I was quite strong then. So then I laid one of them out, and another one round the throat, and then suddenly this chief just had these pincers on my skull, and I knew he wasn't supposed to do it while I was standing up. That's why He did it anyway. So I got out. I got out of the place. But I couldn't walk very well. I don't think my spine was damaged. That was perfectly all right. The trouble was my thoughts had become very slow. I could never quite get it together. I could never quite get it together. The trouble was I couldn't hear what people were saying. I couldn't look to the right or the left. I had to look straight in front of me because if I turned my head round, I couldn't keep upright. And I used to get these headaches. I used to sit in my room. That was when I lived with my mother and my brother. He was younger than me. And I used to lay everything out in order in my room. Everything I knew was mine, but I didn't die. I should have been dead. The thing is, I should have died. Anyway, I feel much better now. But I don't talk to people now. I steer clear of places like that cafe. I never go into them now. I've often thought of going back and trying to find the man who did that to me. But I want to do something first. I want to build that shed out in the garden.